All right. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. And in the future, Spotify listeners. This is the Heartbeat Podcast, a Hometown Media Stettler production. And we say hi to everyone that's watching. Maybe one or two people. I don't know. Could be zero still. But we might have a couple in the future. This is Landon. I'm Alex. And of course, we do the podcast every couple of weeks. Landon, you've been well. Did you escape the mosquitoes, or how did things go for you in the mosquito storm?
Oh, hundreds of bites.
Yeah?
Ooh.
I know. I went out mowing the lawn, and it was just like I couldn't handle it. Had to go inside and spray myself down.
Well, first couple days, the repellent was working, but I found after about 3 or 4 days, it felt like it wasn't working. You were getting bit no matter what. Mm-hmm. So
we've lived here quite a while, and I think that's the worst mosquitoes I've seen. Worst swarms of mosquitoes anyway, just with the amount of rain that we've gotten. So
only so much you can do with that standing water. You try to get rid of as much as you can, but look how much we got.
Yeah.
Right?
So at least with the warmer weather now, a lot of those mosquitoes have died off, and I think it's a little more tame now. As I came to work, I don't think it's quite as mosquito-ridden, the community anyway. I just wanted to also send a shout out to the town of Stettler as far as the mosquitoes were concerned and the storms on Canada Day. They did a good job of improvising and changing up the plans when necessary.
No, that storm rolled right through as you normally would have had that entertainment in the park and gathering celebration down at that West Stettler.
Yeah.
So really good that they were able to reschedule that at the last minute.
Yeah. Again, not only could you probably not sit there for more than 5 minutes without going crazy and be like, too many mosquitoes, I'm out of here, but that storm happened exactly when the band was supposed to play.
I feel like the hail probably took out some of the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So.
And Brad from the rec center told me that the band, they were one of the best shows that they've had on Canada Day. So it was great music, and everyone stayed dry at the rec center.
No, I did pop down there to just around the community gathering photos on Canada Day, and they did a good job throwing that show in the rec center in the Blue Arena. And people were able to just bring out their lawn chairs and sit on the ice there.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they didn't have quite as many people as they had in previous years just because of the storm. I'm sure people saw the storm clouds come in and it started to rain and hail a little bit. You saw some hail. Then that probably just made them feel like staying at home was the right choice for that day. So they did have a lot of cookies left from their Canada Day celebration.
That's what you were saying, yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that was the case, but this happens every once in a while with the weather and, again, the mosquitoes and everything like that. But the fireworks went off. Everyone loved that. They did a great job. Again, we always have a great position to watch the fireworks for Canada Day from our lawn. And also the celebration of Canada Day not only coincides with that, but our YouTube channel too.
It was our first video.
Our first video was of the fireworks for Canada Day. So I don't know. I can't think of the right word for that. But either way, we've been on YouTube for about 5 years.
It's gotten quick.
Yep. So we've been covering the Canada Day festivities and covering local news for that long on our YouTube channel. So cool to be doing that for that many years. Before we get to our interview, who are we talking to today, by the way?
Yeah, we're chatting with Isaac Nibourg. He's one of the UCP Drumheller-Stettler candidates, going to be vying for the upcoming MLA seat here when we have the next election.
Yeah, because Nate Horner won't run again.
No,
he's not going to.
He stepped down from the finance minister position, saying that whoever is finance minister, ended up being Jason Nixon, should be someone that is running in the next election.
Right. Okay, we'll get to that in just a second. Before we do that, let's just quickly chat about Team Canada and soccer, or football, as it were. I watched a grand total of 20 minutes, I won't lie, but still cool that Canada had all of these milestones and did so well.
Was it that 20 minutes Alphonso Davies was playing?
I don't know.
Well, it was when we went through against South Africa. I think that's when you were watching, right?
No, honestly, I didn't watch much of that game. I watched the first game against Bosnia and Herzegovinas or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I always thought was interesting that it's like two countries, but really it's just one country.
Yeah, no, very good at football for being a very small nation. So.
And I also learned a lot this year about the World Cup, as I learned it's 50 teams. That's a lot of teams. I had no idea it was that many teams.
It's a World Cup.
Yeah, definitely, right? I didn't know it lasts this long. Like, it's still going.
About a month. Yep.
Unfortunately, all of the host countries are out.
Within 2 or 3 days, too.
Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. are all out of the tournament. But no, very cool to see that Canada hit those milestones. First win, scored the most goals they've ever scored in a game, so on and so forth. So already kind of looking forward to the next World Cup and hoping that Canada's back in it and successful again.
No, I did see a stat. Canada had 2 goals in their previous 2 appearances, but they leave this tournament with 9 goals. So, but you look at some of these superstars, they are carrying their countries. Like Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, Eric Halling, they have 7 goals each for France, Argentina, and Norway. So putting their countries on their back for sure.
You know what I did love? The Norwegian row.
Ah, yes, where they all row together in a row. Did you see them do it up the escalator?
I did not.
Oh, that's the best row. You got to watch the boys do it up the escalator.
I thought that was cool. Like thousands of people in the stands sitting there and rowing and cheering on their team. So
no, like I said, I do hope Canada can qualify for the 2030 World Cup, and we get to see what Alphonso Davies can do. He only played 16 minutes of the tournament, so it would have been something to see what he could do. But yeah, like I said, well done, Team Canada. You've inspired the next wave of players here, I think.
Is there a big process that goes from now until the next World Cup to qualify? Because it seems like they should qualify considering they were in the top, 32?
Well, it really comes down, unless you're a host country, because Canada did automatically qualify for this one because of that. But otherwise, there are qualifying tournaments in the 2 years leading up to it. Like Italy has actually won 4 World Cups, but did not qualify for this tournament.
Right, they didn't, yeah.
So,
okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that and probably keep an eye on that more than we usually do. So, all right. Well, very cool. And again, congrats to the Canadian team, even though they didn't make it to the final or win anything. They still were very successful as far as Canadian soccer or Canadian football is concerned. All right, coming up on the show, we'll have Isaac Nibourg and Landon sit down and chat.
all right, we're back with the Heartbeat. We have Isaac Nibourg running for the UCP for Drumheller-Stettler. As many of you know, near the end of May, our local MLA, Nate Horner, resigned from cabinet as finance minister, announcing he's not going to run, but he plans to stay on as the MLA until the election's called, but the party will need to find a new representative. So we have Isaac here. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your background for those who may not know.
Yeah, to begin with, I want to say that I'm a young girl Albertan that's, fighting for our home here in Drumheller-Stettler. I care about community and culture. I grew up here. I was born here. I was raised on a farm just south of Erskine area. And, graduated from high school here. I'd taken some time and went up to Edmonton. I was thinking about becoming a pastor, and so I'd spent some time in seminary. I got a great education while I was there. I came away with a philosophy degree and some theology, and having been there, I had great professors. A number of them have went on to really be the pioneers for our charter school programs throughout the province. From there, I felt called in a different direction. I was thinking about, how I can shape our communities and our culture in the best possible way. And so I took some time. I went and I worked a job in a lumber yard and for a year, and kind of, really enjoyed that experience, just working with my hands and working with customers. After that, I'd, really considered what should be the next stage. And so I decided that I'd go into the education program. That's an after degree program up in Edmonton again. And that was really great. And, I'm still in the midst of that. I have every intention of finishing it. I wasn't necessarily intending on getting into politics right at this moment in my life. But, I had some friends that approached me in this area that said, I'd really like to see you run. We know that Nate isn't thinking that he's going to be running in the next election. So would you take some time and consider this? And so, I've had family that have been in politics, most notably my father, who's been on county council for a number of years. And so I've seen the sacrifices that he's made, frankly. And I had to think about that. And it's like, it requires a lot, but I also think that just because something's difficult doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it, especially when it comes to fighting for, your community, for your home, for your society, for your family. I think, that gives you even more reason to step up and say, I'm going to put my life on hold to make sure that things are happening well. And so when it boils down to it, I'm a young guy from rural Alberta trying to, make a difference.
Nice. Are we still sounding good there, Josh? Or?
Okay.
Yeah, just so make sure we can hear you.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
A little closer too.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see. Fancy.
Yeah. So, like I said, the good introduction on you there. So, tell me what got you interested in politics. Like I said, sometimes it's a calling to people. Maybe it's events that happen, but tell me about that.
Yeah, so of course I'm coming from a very politically active family, and so it's something that's it's been my world for, pretty much as long as I can remember. I wasn't necessarily planning on getting into politics, like I was saying. It's something that I'm very aware of, that we have this civic responsibility to be politically engaged. But, it was one of those things that I did have people come and ask me to do it. Growing up, though, we were always involved in the community. And so it's not necessarily about politics per se. It's more so about that community involvement and making sure that person is showing up for their community.
So, what have you been hearing across the riding since Nate announced that he's not going to be running again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're obviously in interesting times in politics. The major thing that a lot of people are looking at is cost of living. It's everybody's budgets are getting tighter, and so that causes a number of questions that come up. So some of them have to do with some of the policies that the UCP have put in place. The major one right now that we're coming across is the referendum. That's the question that's on everybody's mind. It's the question that I get at every door that I go to. Every person that I talk to, they want to know, where am I at on this? Industry is a big one, the pipelines, and so that's something that's come up. Keeping our rural communities open and making sure that they're viable. That's another one. And then also accessibility to our MLAs, right? We need to make sure that as representatives we have that opportunity to actually have the democratic process where people are getting that representation.
No, we need really access to all levels of government to be able to solve all the issues that we're facing in that, right? So,
exactly.
What's your position on the upcoming October 19th referendum? Will you be making the case for Alberta to stay or separate?
Yeah, so it's not on my platform of things that I'm advocating for in this nomination. What I can say about it is that I think it needs to go to the democratic process. Because it's not the jurisdiction of 87 or 91, depending on when the boundaries are changed. MLAs up in Edmonton making that decision for us, I think Albertans know what's best for themselves, and so I think it does need to go through that democratic process. We'll see. We're at interesting times. Of course, Western alienation isn't anything new. It's been there long before I was around. Most guys my age are in the camp of separation, and I can sympathize with that in a lot of ways, because a lot of people that have been advocating for staying in Canada have been the same people that were silent when statues were being torn down, or telling us about how terrible our nation was before. And so frankly, I love our country. I'm not sure that's the same country that the other people are talking about when they're advocating for staying. But I'd say, I love Alberta too. and I'm not convinced that Ottawa always has our best interest in mind. And so I'd like to find solutions, but frankly, I think that that's the decision for the millions of Albertans that will get to vote in the referendum to make. And so I'm fully in agreement with the party on that. We need the referendum to happen.
No, and I think we're hearing a lot of opinions about how people are thinking before we've actually had the vote on the matter.
That's right.
Especially from the media, where I think you really just have to let people have their say and
That's right.
not influence them one way or the other before.
That's right.
I don't think people would be signing these petitions if they felt properly represented.
Exactly that, right? We need to make sure that people have the say, and the more that we try and take that way, the more that we'll run into more issues where people don't feel like they have that say and get angry and go down the paths that we've seen in different regards, right?
So what's a policy or idea that you would like to bring forward if you become the elected representative up in Edmonton there?
Yeah, and so there's a number of things that I'd like to see happen for me. Like I'm not a one-issue candidate, and so there isn't all of these particular things I think that needs to happen. I think it boils down to making sure that we have representation and that we have somebody with integrity to make decisions that are in the best interest of our area. And so that is, at the end of the day, I think really important that we have an advocate. For example, I'm sure you can remember when we were having the issues with getting doctors out here in Stettler. And that was a community-led initiative. That wasn't necessarily something that came from the top down, but we needed an advocate for it. And so I think that's important that we have that advocate. I want to see our oil and gas sector increased. I think that's very important, especially in our area. Most people rely on that for their income out here in rural Alberta as much as they do on farming. And so we need to make sure that that's going forward. And so I want to advocate for that. I think it would be good to see some of our government agencies moved out to more rural areas because, we end up with the case where if you've been in Edmonton all your life, you have no clue how life is out, past the boundaries of the Anthony Henday. And so, why can't we have Alberta Fish and Wildlife stationed here in somewhere like Stettler or in Provost? Why can't we have Alberta Ag in somewhere like here, or transportation? I think if we had the transportation office here in rural Alberta, we'd have a lot better roads.
Basically advocating for government jobs that already exist just to move to rural areas.
Yeah, that's right. There's no reason that we can't have that. One of the ones that I have to kind of say with a smile that I think would be fun to see happen is to have cigar lounges be a possibility here in this province. I think that would be a good thing for our culture and community in some regards, right? Where it's like...
You do have hookah lounges, so...
We do, yeah. So
it's not out of the realm of possibility, I suppose. Talk a little bit about how this nomination process is going, just kind of the timelines you're hearing, and that you're trying to sell memberships, right?
So. That is exactly it. The main goal right now is to sell memberships, get people on board, and join the movement, as it were. The process right now is, so there's the things on with like Elections Alberta that I have to deal with, and so that's kind of all taken care of because the nomination hasn't been officially struck, but of course campaigning happens well before a nomination ever is. There's kind of all of that side where I'm working with the party to get everything kind of sorted out, make sure that we have our paperwork properly filed. And so that process is going well. We're looking at probably October, November for a nomination vote. That's kind of what I've heard from a number of people within the party. But we'll see. Politics is very volatile. It can change at any moment. And so you never know. We could have a spring election next year, and we could have a fall election. And so all of that's, really on the table, but it requires the work up front. And so that's what we're doing. We're getting out, we're door knocking, we're talking to folks, making that contact and making sure that they are getting that representation and that, they're being heard. And so, it's a lot of conversations at the doorstep, which is a wonderful experience, frankly. It allows me to see so much of our area that I wouldn't otherwise see, just having grown up here in Stettler and living on the farm.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention there just before we let you go?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that it's important to remember is that we need local representation. I don't think that we need somebody from Ontario telling us how it is to live on the prairies. We need people with energy. We need young people because if we lose the youth vote, whatever gains we've made as a conservative movement today, we'll have lost tomorrow because 20 years down the road, 10 years down the road, if we've lost the youth to parties that don't agree with us, that don't agree with our rural way of life, that's going to cause a lot of issues for us. And and as somebody that cares deeply about our communities and our culture, I think that we need to make sure that we have that representation.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again for stopping by today, Isaac, and best of luck out there on the campaign trail.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. We'll be back.
All right, we're back after the interview with Landon and Isaac. So thanks again to Isaac for coming down and chatting with us on the Heartbeat podcast. And as well, you went to a barbecue, was it yesterday, to visit and chat with another UCP nominee?
Yeah, Kevin Van Leggen was in Stettler there for a lunchtime barbecue yesterday. We stopped by and we have a clip just with him chatting about his background there.
Kevin Van Leggen, husband and father of 5 sons. Together with my wife, we live in Ontario, Alberta, where I've been principal for the past 12 years. And we've built maybe the best agriculture school in the province that's known throughout Alberta and Saskatchewan. And yeah, just taking the next step to see if I can't advocate more on a larger scale for all things rural.
So yeah, Kevin, he's worked the past 12 years at the Ontario School, spoke about his work trying to grow the student population through agriculture programming in the schools after hearing that feedback from the community there. He goes by Prairie Principal on Facebook and announced he's going to be at the Endiang Hall Thursday evening to chat with folks down in Bymore and Endiang. I just want to thank both Isaac and Kevin for taking the time to chat with us about the issues. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about them in the coming weeks and months, and we'll have a write-up coming in the coming days with Kevin's interview there. Like I said, it was yesterday, so you guys only got so much time to get stuff together, but did want to throw that in there, kind of give both candidates' side there. So
yeah, definitely. I bet if Kevin got a nickel for every time someone said, "Where's Ontario?" he'd be a rich guy.
Well, it's a very southeast corner of our riding province, pretty close to the border there. So
yeah, no. I only kid, but it's a very small place.
Very small.
I think the population was 25.
Yeah, well, you were looking there on Wikipedia, weren't you?
And obviously there's more people, farmers and agriculturalists in the area, but...
Well, he was telling me it was a school of necessity, because, of course, last episode we chatted with Scott Lays about the issues of these small rural schools, but when you're defined a school by necessity, you are literally the only school within 50, 60 kilometers.
Right.
They really can't close you.
No.
So
where else are these kids going to go?
I know, right? So
it's like they can't go to Lethbridge, right? Like places are too far.
Depends how long you want your commute to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, very interesting. And so what's the timeline of this, the UCP election and all of that?
Yeah, like Isaac was saying there, they're kind of hearing that they're looking for a fall nomination date. Right now, both candidates are out there trying to sell memberships, and that's kind of what it is when it comes to party nominations. They're looking for the candidate, obviously, that's going to bring them the most voters in, right?
So give us the lay of the land just in layman's terms as far as like this election is concerned, like the provincial election. When could that be?
Well, I think it's really going to come down to how this referendum goes. If enough people vote yes on starting the separation process, then we may see Danielle Smith call a spring election to get a mandate from Alberta to pursue that goal.
Right.
Where the law just states that by the fall of next year we need to have one. So it's basically just whether or not it's going to be in the spring or the fall.
Okay.
Myself, I believe, will come down to the referendum. So,
and then they just have to strategically figure out which would be the best time to have an election.
That's politics, baby.
So Nate Horner, he's staying on until this election.
Yes, but like I said, step down from cabinet as his finance minister role, saying whoever is finance minister should be running in the next election.
Right.
So,
all right. Well, we'll keep an eye on all of that. Lots of news, of course, locally. One thing we put a spotlight on in our recent July Hometown Express, as you can see, the front cover here is of a saved kitten.
Ooh.
As this was, it went kind of Stettler connection viral, as Aaron Deems from the Saving Grace Animal Society saved this kitten from the storm drain. People had heard potential meows from the storm drain in the KFC intersection. They called the vets and were like, yeah, we're kind of concerned as to the welfare of this cat. And then at that point, they called Erin from the Saving Grace Animal Society, and she came, and she couldn't lure out the kitten immediately, but what she had to do, and she kind of thought of this on the spot, was play the sounds of mom cats speaking to their kittens, and that enticed this kitten that was like, oh, it's my mom, to come out and get some food that she had dangling down there. And it came out far enough where she was able to grab the kitten and bring it to safety, brought it home, and it's safe and ready to be adopted at some point in the near future. So just wanted to shout out to Aaron Deems, our hometown hero from the Hometown Express. Again, that was quite the story. And just, it's another reminder, Landon, that when people are irresponsible with their pets, the responsibility and the pieces have to be picked up by other people. And it often comes down to animal rescues. You've been on Facebook for how long again? You've come back for a few months. Yeah. And how often do you see pictures of cats on rescues? Tons.
Every other post that's not AI.
Right. You got AI poster of an event, and then cat that needs to be adopted.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it goes, generally on Facebook. And then a suggested post that you'd never asked for in the first place.
From Newfoundland.
From Newfoundland. So that's how Facebook works. But what I'm trying to say is that these rescues, whether it's here or in Calgary or wherever, are inundated with animals, and simply because of people who are irresponsible. And the responsible people, the good people, have to pick up the pieces at the end of the day, just like in this story, where who knows what happened, but at some point someone was irresponsible, which led to this kitten, ending up in a storm drain, which led to Erin from the Saving Grace Animal Society having to drop everything she's doing that day and come in, because she's a good person, to save the cat. And I could give you 100 anecdotes. My in-laws, they rescued a puppy because the puppy and its siblings were running down the highway because someone just let the puppies go out of their truck or in a box or something. And they, never really wanted another pet. But at the end of the day, this animal, this dog, who's awesome, by the way, his name's Teddy, needed a home. And they picked up the slack and they took it upon themselves to take care of the animal. And this happens all the time. And people often think, wow, I'm going to have kittens. They're cute. Yes, but at the end of the day, if you can't take care of those kittens yourself, somebody has to take that responsibility. And in this community especially, I can almost tell you a fact that everyone who wants a cat has a cat. You know what I mean?
You could argue
we
that.
don't need more cats.
They
you know?
procreate so quickly.
That's why
too.
you see so many people have 2 or 3, because oftentimes some farmer down the street has kittens and they're like, hey, we need someone to adopt these cats. And everyone's like, well, I've got 2, but I guess I could have a 3rd.
It kind of seems how you end up with another cat.
It is.
Yes.
Yes, because you feel bad because there's kittens out there that need help. So you just adopt another one.
My girlfriend tags me and I'm on Facebook.
So, at least you're one of the good ones that will adopt the cats. But what I'm trying to say is, sometimes people don't take it seriously, but get your cats and dogs spayed and neutered. And honestly, if you can't afford it, because I know a lot of people say, it's too expensive, and it is a little expensive, especially for the female variety, getting them spayed. But if you can't afford it, don't get a cat.
Keep them indoors.
Or keep them indoors, yes. Because you just run into so many problems if you let them out.
Well,
again,
and they don't live that long if they're outdoors either. And
Yeah.
they don't live long enough anyway.
And I've talked to Erin in extent about this story and the rescue, and she talks about the overpopulation problems and just dealing with the public, and there's so many problems that these rescues have to deal with. And if we would just take it upon ourselves as a society and just did the right thing and kept our cats inside, or if we have them as farm cats, that's great and everything to have farm cats, but have them spayed, because if they're not, they're running around outside. The ones that need to be controlled, your cat that's in your house, my cat in the house, not going anywhere, they don't really need to be spayed or neutered. You know what I mean? The important ones are the farm cats, because they're just out and about doing their thing, and they're going to get pregnant, and they keep getting pregnant, and you get kitten after kitten after kitten, and then the cycle just continues and continues. And then a lot of their responsibility, because they take it upon themselves, because they're good people, fall on the rescues.
No, they're already doing good work.
Yeah. And the fosters. And they don't need to be inundated with these problems, and they don't get enough money and charitable, have donations. Like, they need lots of money. When there's these cats that get injured, like, this is thousands of dollars to go to the vet and everything like that. So basically, that's my point, is if you're going to have animals, just try to be as responsible as possible, because we don't need more kittens or puppies.
It's a tough issue, too, because I see it almost like the dental fee guide that was introduced a couple years ago to regulate prices in dentistry. But now we're hearing from dentists having trouble pulling profits in some areas because you have government intervention in a private business. But do you need the same thing in veterinary clinics, or will you see the same problems down the line?
Right.
But you've paid a vet bill, you and I both have, and it'll take a chunk of change out of your pocket. So
Yeah. At least a chunk.
yeah.
2-3 chunks maybe.
So where's the line on that, right? So,
Yeah, for sure. But again, big props to these rescues out there who are going out of their way to not only save kittens, but help them find homes and work with fosters and everything like that. They are definitely heroes in our area.
No, it was a pretty easy decision to make the hometown hero choice this last month.
Yes, absolutely. Let's take a look at some other local stories. That was one of our bigger stories on the website this month, or last month, I guess I should say. But we've got some news on a bylaw requiring visible property addresses. News from the Belkey's Pond and the Ardley Reservoir. Let's start with those 3 stories, Landon.
Yeah, so last town council meeting there, they just approved an update to the addressing bylaw, just introducing fines for property owners not displaying addresses. Councillor Dusty Meschel, who was a paramedic before he became a councillor, he just put out a statement saying that throughout his career as a paramedic, he's responded to emergencies where every second mattered, so having clearly visible addresses can help first responders find those properties faster and, do their work. Begin providing care sooner, as he says.
Yeah, and help the delivery drivers around town, too.
That, too. Get those pizzas delivered to you right quick.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, I delivered one time, and I even had trouble. I was like, where are the house numbers? Like, few and far between sometimes in this community.
Well, it depends. If you got an older property, maybe you've got it on the back alley. But what was really highlighted at council was the commercial properties, places that have multiple units in them, right? So something like that clinic downtown, or what's the specific address for that? So that's kind of what they're looking to do, and the town's just encouraging people to shop local when they're getting those address markers. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then over at the county, we got the Belky's Pond Revitalization Study. It's an old fishing site that's north of Endiang, south of Halkirk there. County's hired a Calgary-based engineering company. They're going to conduct a feasibility study on the pond. It's had vandalism over the years, and then low oxygen levels at the lake also led to, or at the pond, led to winter kills. So just fish dying off there. So the province stopped stocking it in 2017. This study is going to lay out 2 paths for them, the cost of turning it back into a trout pond and park, or whether letting it transition back to a natural wetland. So county's expecting that report back to council by September.
And one of the bigger stories, actually, as far as our Google search is concerned, was that reservoir that we have in the news, the Ardley Reservoir. I got the Google Analytics today, and that's something people are actually going out of their way to search, so they're interested in that.
Yeah, you're surprised by that, because you're like, what is this?
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah,
still don't really know.
Alberta's government is seeking public input on a potential reservoir along the Red Deer River. Albertans are being asked to provide input on it, looking to build it near the community of Ardley, so that's to the southwest of us, kind of down by Delburn there. That survey can be found on our website. In-person engagement session, that's also going to be taking place in Red Deer next Tuesday for those who are interested. The province is looking to gather feedback from these to help inform whether it proceeds to the next stage of development. So again, a reservoir could be used for power generation and a lot of other things down the line that we've been talking about, such as data center. Right. So guess we'll see what comes from that. But between that and our next story there, ATCO and Altalink completing the power line project, also to power future potential projects. So.
Right. So many data centers, hey?
Well,
they're going to power so many freaking AI posters. It's going to be ridiculous.
It's tough. In the news yesterday, we had a story about Olds on the radio station, and it's the public's really concerned about the noise, the public safety around these things.
Well, any research you do, you'll find that there is noise pollution, and it is kind of an annoyance as far as a community is concerned.
Well, but you also have towns trying to drive tax revenue without raising taxes on you.
Right.
So how do you drive revenue from outside taxation?
And that's the balancing act with this whole thing.
It really is. And honestly, the way our population's going, the demographics, I worry the crunch we're going to be in 10, 15 years. If we don't have enough young people and we're trying to support half our population that's retired, not good math.
If we already have AI where it is now, and we're adding all of these data centers, where are we going to be in 15 years? You know what I mean?
Living under a data center.
Just living, We're going to be living under a data center and constantly just zzz, and we're just going to have a buzz.
Conversations we need to have.
In our ears all day, every day. But maybe not. Maybe we'll have our like Ready Player One goggles on and be living in our alternate universe. And when the whole world is just one big data center, but we're oblivious to it because we're living in our video game world.
That's where the way it's going, isn't it?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, I suppose. So those power poles are done.
Yeah, so of course, if you've driven anywhere between Stettler and Red Deer the last couple of years, you've noticed these giant power poles.
5 times bigger. If you're driving down, if you're driving west toward Red Deer, you look on your left, these little baby power poles, and then on the right, these big power poles. So obviously they need big power poles for the data centers. So
yeah, so this was a project completed by ATCO and Altalink, backed by the Federal Canada Infrastructure Bank loan. So it's a 135-kilometer transmission line, goes between Red Deer and actually beyond Stettler to the Tinchbrae station. So looking at the... lost my page there. Altalink, they constructed a 50-kilometer stretch east of Red Deer and upgraded their Gates substation, while ATCO built the remaining 85 kilometers out this way. So,
And one last story to go over on hometownmediastettler.ca, one from the province, and that there are new licenses. Are you going to rush out and get a new license? You shouldn't, and I'll tell you why. They don't have the dinosaur on it anymore.
Yeah, you just discovered that this morning, didn't you?
I just looked at the picture when I was uploading it into our streaming software, and I was like, this is missing something important. The dinosaur.
Yeah, it's been replaced
If I
by
was
an oil derrick.
Drumheller, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, what is this? We're losing our big dinosaur on Main Street, and we've lost the dinosaur on the Alberta license.
I mean, you're close enough by proxy. You can be pissed.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, kinda, are you rushing out to get one of those licenses? I don't know if I really need to, in a sense. I always have my Alberta healthcare card with me, and if people talk to me for a second, they'll know I'm a Canadian citizen.
Well, I actually don't have the healthcare card anymore.
Okay.
I just have the number.
Okay. I
It's
guess
like
that's all you need.
written in my wallet.
Yeah.
when I need it.
It's like the I don't have my social insurance number card. I just have the number.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, it might be somewhere. It was like disintegrating.
Yeah.
For the SIN number? Yeah, there is.
He might be too young. I don't know if they still do that.
Maybe they stopped making that. Yeah, it was a white card with like a red outline in it.
red border.
Yeah. So and he's okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they stopped doing that. We'll have to look into that.
I guess so.
Josh, our producer, says that he doesn't have a card.
He might be too young.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so basically that's the news. We've covered what we have in our notes. We'll take a quick look at the community events as well. More music in the park on July 8th and the 15th. So once again, head to West Stettler Park, bring a lawn chair. Shows start at 7 p.m. Things should be better now. I haven't been to West Stettler Park in a bit, but I know the community's mosquitoes have tapered off just a little bit. So hopefully it's better. Fingers crossed. The Big Valley Street Festival is on July 11th from 2 to 11. That's on Main Street in Big Valley. The Boys and Girls Club and Heartland Youth Center summer programs include the Blue Jays Baseball Academy Clinic on July 17th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a free event at the Stettler Sports Park. The Aspen Ford 6th Annual Show and Shine is happening on July 18th at Aspen Ford from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you have an event that you would like to have included on the podcast, contact info at htproductionsmedia.ca, or you can always drop by the office and bring us a poster. And of course, we're going to have lots to talk about on the next podcast with the county fair right around the corner and everything like that. Anything else you want to talk about, Landon, before we wrap things up?
No, I think that's about it. We got lots of news on our website there that we didn't get to. So.
Yeah. How does it feel to have a goalie as an Oilers fan?
Yes, we didn't talk free agency.
Yeah. I mean, the one main thing is that the Oilers got a goalie, and they've been needing a goalie for about 12 years now.
Yeah. I really liked Mike Smith, but did Mike Smith just get too old on us?
Mike Smith was a sieve. I liked the guy. I mean, he had personality, but when Rasmus Anderson throws a puck from the other blue line, it goes in.
Oh, Freddie Anderson, though. Way for Stan Bowman to keep his cards to his chest. Nobody saw that one coming.
No, that did come out of left field.
Even you didn't believe it when I told you. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But no, I'm pleased with Anderson. He really doesn't play a lot of games anymore. Mm-hmm. But when you're playing a 3-goalie trio between Jari and Devin Levi, I think is going to be a big if factor next season too, because he's really up and coming. Just seems to have trouble being a 1A. So, I mean, if you could see Anderson help Levi calm his nerves, watch out.
Yeah. And the one thing in Flames news is the new arena, obviously, that keeps being built down in Calgary. I went to the Stampede over the weekend and got to see it with my own eyes, Scotia Place. And I think it's going to be pretty magnificent when it's built.
It's going to be a pretty hockey barn. It's just too bad there's going to be a lockout the first year you want to play in.
Is that your guess? Is that your estimate?
I think with this this offer sheet situation going on between Anaheim and Philly there, Leo Carlson being offered $18 million. That is, McDavid makes 12.5.
Right.
And like Carlson, we may in 10 years be talking in the same conversation, the two players. I think he's going to be a stud, but to pay that kid that much is going to reset the salary cap.
Yeah, you would think these offer sheets are really going to inflate prices throughout the NHL. Because if somebody offer sheets Bedard and then someone else offer sheets Celebrini, and then Chicago and San Jose has to match those, and all of a sudden it's just like these wild prices. Like you said, $18 million per year for Leo Carlsson, and Anaheim has to sign it. Like, they have to do it.
Oh,
You can't lose that player.
You don't want to lose your 1C.
But all of a sudden, when maybe you were going to pay him 13 or whatever it was, now it's $5 million more a year because of these offer sheets.
And I could have seen that being his number too, like 13-5.
Yeah.
So,
And these players with these teams with cap space are going to take advantage of these situations. Like you've joked about, maybe Calgary should offer sheet Bedard or something like that. But then if it doesn't work out, you do have to give up a bunch of draft picks.
and it really all depends what your window is too, because
Right.
if you're the Flames, do you want draft picks 4 years from now? Mm-hmm. It depends if that's your window. If you're winning, probably not.
Right.
You're gonna deal them away for players who are in the league now. So.
At the end of the day, it is interesting, though, to see more and more of these offer sheets happening. And but boy, it puts these teams in a bind, though. Like, all of a sudden, $18 million, I guess, okay, sign the check. You know what I mean? Like, what else do you want me to do?
It used to be such an old boys club that it seemed like teams didn't want to upset each other by doing this. But now you have some new, younger GMs in there, and they don't care.
Yeah.
It's business.
It seems a bit vengeful. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's all business. That's right.
Am I sad to see Anaheim in this position? Oh, no.
Yeah. It does give teams a different way, a unique way of acquiring players, and like really, really good players. But again, they do have to pay a pretty penny.
You have to pony up the picks, and you may not get the player if the team matches.
Right.
Because we've seen it in the past. Joe Sakic was almost a Ranger, but then Colorado matched in one of the famous original offer sheets.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if there's any more over the summer. Definitely makes for an interesting summer if there are. I think that'll do it for today's Heartbeat on this July 7th. We hope everyone has a great day. And once again, visit hometownmediastetler.ca for more on these stories. And whether you watched on YouTube, Facebook, or listened on Spotify, thank you. And thank you for watching and listening to the show. So make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and everywhere that we are. Have a great day. Take care.